Kathleen, thank you so much for joining us here at Super Return International. You're talking specifically about ESG. How have you seen the priorities around that shift in this industry, and how much momentum are you seeing behind it now?
There's been a huge amount of momentum in ESG, and interestingly, a lot of it coming out of Europe. 20 years ago, one of our Swedish investors had us sign up to an ethical guideline that they had. But roll forward over the last 3 to 4 years, I'd say ESG is ubiquitous across all geographies and really across all investors, from the very largest pension funds down to high net worth individuals.
So it's not just down to size and geography, you think it's across the board. Why do you think that is?
I think that the big difference in the last 2 or 3 years is every component of ESG is very topical, either at the government level or at the business level. So if you talk about the E, climate change is a huge topic, again, for governments, but also for businesses. The social side, engaging with your employees, engaging with your customers and suppliers in a responsible business fashion is again, ubiquitous in all markets. And lastly, I think governance issues, proper transparency, proper alignment with all stakeholders is a huge issue for all markets, public markets, private markets. So I think it's just been a big groundswell, not just for private equity, but for business and society in general.
Clients really just expect it as a given now, if you like, that you have to adhere to some of these guidelines.
In every fundraising process that we're in with limited partners, and I would say in every fundraising process that we participate in as a limited partner, ESG is now part of the due diligence process. It's something that we analyze and we report on with our general partners that we invest into and with the investors that we report to.
Talking about analysis, one of the key factors in really getting this message across and really making this work is having, I suppose, measurable guidelines around it and things that can properly be monitored as well.
So that is the key to making ESG really impactful in our business, in the private equity world. And I think before I get to the measurables, I think we got to raise it up a level or two, which is we need to make sure that all of the practitioners in this industry have some sort of ESG policy or strategy. And not every manager has that yet. So that's kind of where we're working on right now. Once you have a policy or strategy, then you can set goals and targets. So by way of example, internally for a general partner, for a manager, they could set diversity targets within their companies, whether it's by gender or by ethnicity. And that's something that we would really like to encourage our general partners to do. That is measurable. In the portfolio companies, again, the manager can have a list of measurable KPIs, energy conservation, employee growth within their companies, or human capital growth. They can have a nice measurable list of the things that get decided on at the board levels. And private equity is a business that loves numbers, loves setting targets, loves beating those targets. So I think that eventually these sorts of measurable KPIs will be something that will again be pervasive in the industry.
And talking about loving numbers, this makes good business sense too. There's evidence for that.
Yeah, I again like to say to our limited partners as well as to our general partners that there's opportunity here in communicating the benefits, in communicating the messages of why doing ESG well is good for business. There's also protecting the downside. There are externalities out there. There are issues on the environmental side and the social side that we need to be aware of and we need to mitigate against. And lastly, if we don't do this well, it will get regulated. and we will be forced to do ESG well. So there's the carrot and there's the stick as to why it is good to adopt ESG policies.
And looking more at carrot, another perhaps motivation for doing it well would be that I think it probably attracts the best talent into companies as well. If new graduates see that a company is genuinely ethical and has a very robust ESG policy, it will be attractive to them.
Absolutely. ESG, and particularly I'd say the social element of it, how you invest in your people is part of the ESG policy that firms need to embrace. And we definitely have evidence when we speak to the more junior professionals in firms that have a strong ESG policy, a strong ESG culture. They tend to attract the best talent in the business.
They've kind of sought out the company they want to feel good about working for.
Absolutely. These things matter. Again, it's good business, but it's also doing things the right way. And I think that has a huge attraction, particularly to the younger generation.
And private equity really has a great opportunity here to be at the very fore of this, doesn't it, too?
It is the best business model of all of the asset classes. Private equity is about ownership. It is being in control of your decisions. And again, if you set the right culture internally, if you set the right policies, you will absolutely be able to make a difference within the business communities that we invest into.
Brilliant to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us so much, Kathleen.
Thank you,
Great
Emma.
to talk to you.
Thanks.